Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe now my channel and see videos. Stay tuned for new videos and encourage others to watch my channel videos. Vanderpump Rules star Rachel Leviss has announced her Rachel Goes Rogue podcast, and critics are not happy about it. Podcasts are like opinions. It seems like everyone has one these days. And for Rachel Leviss, formerly known as Rachel Leviss, she is no exception. On November 30, the much-maligned Vanderpump Rules star announced that her very own podcast will launch in January 2024. In the trailer for her Rachel Goes Rogue podcast, Leviss tells listeners that it was time that they heard her side of the story. "I'm Rachel Leviss. This might not be the return you're expecting, but this coming January, you'll hear my side of the story, and you may just be surprised what you find out. I hope you'll join me." The story behind the Rachel Goes Rogue podcast. Leviss knows all about public scrutiny. The TV personality got a taste of reality TV infamy when she became embroiled in a sordid affair with Tom Sandoval. In the aftermath of the affair, fans flocked to show their support for Ariana Madix. According to the podcast's press release, Leviss will not be holding back when describing her perspective. "I'm going to tell you what's true, what's false, and the secrets I've been waiting to reveal," the podcast description reads. "Yes, I've made mistakes, but what you think you know isn't reality. It's time to see reality through a different lens, and you might just be surprised by what you learn." The press release continues by saying, "She will passionately cultivate candid conversations, breaking the fourth wall in reality TV, and frankly discussing living her entire dating life on camera." In August 2023, Leviss was a guest on Bethany Frankel's Just Be podcast. "The mistakes that I've made on camera live on forever, and you mentioned something about the addiction of doing reality TV and the way that they always dangle that carrot in front of you," Leviss said of her experience. "Like they say, you need to tell your side of the story, otherwise it's gonna be written for you. And that's terrifying." Rachel Goes Rogue gets no love. Despite her desire to move on with her life and tell her side of the story, critics have mocked Leviss for her attempt to remain relevant. After posting her podcast announcement on Instagram, many users let their frustrations for the Vanderpump Rules star be known. It seems obvious that many Vanderpump Rules fans have not moved from Leviss' controversial affair. Luckily for Leviss, she does have a few supporters left in her corner. One fan took exception to all of the hate that Leviss was receiving for her announcement. The user turned their focus on the bullies that filled the Instagram post's comment section with negative messages. "Look at all the bullies on this page. God forbid one of your kids screws up and makes some horrible decisions. Is this how you would want them treated? You don't have to like her. You don't have to support her. You don't have to follow her page," wrote one very supportive fan, "but constantly posting horrible comments to her is just plain bullying. Unfollow her and move on with your life. Trust me, you will feel better in life if you stop with all the hate." Rachel Goes Rogue will be available in January 2024. Will you be tuning in to Rachel Leviss' podcast? Do you think she'll have anything important to say? Let us know your opinion in the comments section. In the fast-paced world of podcasts, where voices are amplified, opinions are dissected, and narratives unfold in the digital airwaves, the announcement of Rachel Goes Rogue promised to be a seismic event. Rachel Turner, a seasoned journalist and a familiar voice in the media landscape, decided to take the plunge into the podcasting realm, unveiling her ambitious project with high expectations. However, what followed was an unexpected wave of criticism that rippled through the podcasting community and beyond. Rachel Turner, known for her incisive interviews and uncompromising journalism, had built a reputation as a formidable figure in the media landscape. Her decision to launch a podcast was met with anticipation, as listeners expected an insightful exploration of current events, deep-dive interviews, and the trademark storytelling that had made Rachel a respected name in the industry. The announcement of Rachel Goes Rogue came with a flashy trailer featuring snippets of provocative interviews, tantalizing teasers of behind-the-scenes drama, and promises of unfiltered opinions. The podcast, as Rachel described it, was said to be a platform for unapologetic, no-holds-barred discussions on topics ranging from politics to pop culture. However, as the excitement built up among Rachel's followers, a counter-narrative began to emerge. Critics, both within the podcasting community and beyond, took issue with the very premise of Rachel Goes Rogue. Accusations of sensationalism and pandering to controversy were hurled at the journalist, challenging her reputation for integrity and unbiased reporting. One of the main points of contention was the promotional material itself. The trailer, designed to generate buzz, featured snippets of Rachel engaging in heated debates, provocative soundbites, and moments of what some deemed as confrontation for the sake of entertainment. Longtime fans of Rachel Turner questioned whether the podcast would sacrifice substance for spectacle, forsaking journalistic rigor for the allure of sensationalism. The podcasting landscape, which had evolved into a haven for diverse voices and authentic storytelling, was quick to react to Rachel's announcement. Industry insiders expressed concern about the potential impact of Rachel Goes Rogue on the podcasting community's reputation as a bastion of thoughtful and substantive content. The fear was that the pursuit of controversy for the sake of listenership might set a precedent that could tarnish the credibility of podcasting as a whole. As discussions around Rachel Goes Rogue intensified, some critics pointed to the broader trend of media personalities transitioning to podcasts with a focus on click-worthy content rather than genuine discourse. The rise of the hot take culture, where the most controversial opinions gain the most attention, was seen as a threat to the nuanced and thoughtful discussions that podcasts had initially been celebrated for. Rachel Turner, facing the backlash, decided to address the criticism head-on. In a series of social media posts and interviews, she defended the vision behind Rachel Goes Rogue as an attempt to break away from the traditional interview format and provide a platform for candid conversations that pushed the boundaries of conventional discourse. She argued that the podcast aimed to explore the uncharted territories of subjects often deemed too controversial for mainstream media. Rachel emphasized the importance of fostering open dialogue, even if it meant stepping into uncomfortable territory. However, her explanations did little to quell the concerns of those who saw the podcast as a potential contributor to the erosion of substantive journalism. The criticism extended beyond the podcasting community to include Rachel's peers in traditional media. Colleagues questioned whether the transition from reputable journalism to a format that appeared to prioritize sensationalism was a strategic move for the sake of staying relevant in an ever-evolving media landscape. As the storm of criticism raged on, supporters of Rachel Goes Rogue began to emerge. Some argued that the podcast represented a bold experiment in redefining the boundaries of journalistic expression. They believed that Rachel's approach, though unconventional, could be a refreshing departure from the often formulaic nature of mainstream media. In an effort to counter the negative narrative, Rachel released a longer preview episode, featuring a more in-depth exploration of her podcast's format and intentions. Listeners were given a glimpse into the planned episodes, which included interviews with controversial figures and discussions on pressing issues from unique perspectives. Rachel sought to demonstrate that, beneath the surface-level controversies highlighted in the trailer, there was substance and a genuine attempt to shed light on important topics. Despite Rachel's efforts to shift the narrative, the critical voices remained persistent. Some argued that the podcasting medium, which had flourished on the authenticity of voices and the depth of content, risked being tainted by a rush towards sensationalism. The fear was that other media personalities might follow suit, leading to a landscape dominated by attention-grabbing headlines rather than thoughtful discourse. The debate around Rachel Goes Rogue raised broader questions about the evolving nature of journalism in the digital age. As media consumption patterns shifted, content creators faced the challenge of balancing the need for engagement with the responsibility of delivering meaningful, well-researched information. In the midst of the controversy, other podcasters seized the opportunity to reflect on their own approaches. Some emphasized the importance of maintaining journalistic integrity and substance in an era dominated by fleeting trends and viral moments. The incident sparked a collective examination of the ethical considerations inherent in the pursuit of listenership and the potential consequences of prioritizing sensationalism over informative content. In the weeks leading up to the official launch of Rachel Goes Rogue, the anticipation reached a fever pitch. The podcast had become a lightning rod for discussions about the future of media, the role of journalists in shaping public discourse, and the delicate balance between entertainment and information. The day finally arrived when the first episode of Rachel Goes Rogue hit the digital airwaves. The podcast opened with an intense monologue from Rachel, setting the tone for what was to come. As listeners tuned in, they were met with the promised candid conversations, challenging perspectives, and a departure from the familiar interview format. In the aftermath of the launch, the initial wave of criticism was met with a surge of support from those who appreciated the podcast's attempt to break away from the conventions of traditional media. Some praised Rachel for her courage in taking risks and exploring the uncharted territories of discourse, even if it meant facing backlash from purists within the industry. The controversy surrounding Rachel Goes Rogue ultimately served as a catalyst for a broader conversation about the direction of media in the digital age. It prompted a reevaluation of the responsibility that content creators, especially those with established platforms, bear in shaping public opinion and discourse. As the dust settled, Rachel Turner found herself at the center of a pivotal moment in the podcasting landscape. Rachel Goes Rogue had weathered the storm of criticism, and its success or failure would be determined by the ongoing conversations it sparked and the impact it had on the future of media. The podcast became a microcosm of the larger challenges facing journalism in an era where the line between entertainment and information continues to blur, and where the quest for attention competes with the imperative of delivering substantive content.